Well, welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. Got to do a little bit more tilling and a little bit more cover cropping today. And I'm going to cover crop in a new old way. I'll explain what that means when I get to it a little bit later. I want to show you something real quick that I found in the garden. If y'all have been following us, you saw me till under a bunch of Blue Lake green beans probably a month ago. And some of them came back. But what they came back with was a flat Blue Lake style green bean. Pretty interesting. They went from being a bush bean to kind of a runner and put on these flat beans that you don't have to string. Pretty cool. I don't know why that happened, but it is interesting. All right, guys, thanks for stopping in. We'll get to taking out a bunch of okra and get to tilling. So this is the last picking of okra for 2023. Not a lot of okra, y'all. So it's time to pull these things up. And I like to pull them up versus tilling them under, just because if there's any nematodes that are not beneficial on the roots of these plants, I like to get them up, get them away from the garden. That way we can hopefully eliminate some of that for next year's growing season. But I want to show you one thing here. Burgundy okra, red burgundy. This is one of Lisa and I's favorite okras to eat. Sauteed. They are excellent sauteed. They're extremely tender. Now, the old standby is Clemson spineless, and that one's got a bug bite. But I like to pick them when they're that size right there. That makes perfect boiled okra. And of course, you can get them on a little bit bigger, and that's your perfect fried okra. When it gets much bigger, if you can see that in my hand, then that gets a little tough. But I like Clemson spineless. It's traditional around these parts. We'll get all this pulled up and get to tilling, guys. I could not have done this without you.
You're welcome.
Lisa's been a little under the weather, so she hadn't been doing a whole lot outside, but she volunteered to help me with this okra. And y'all, I get contact dermatitis real bad from tomatoes, okra. I should have had long sleeves out here pulling this up. I'm probably going to regret it.
You are, and then I'll hear you complain about it for weeks.
At least his burn is healing up.
Yeah.
Made a goof the other day changing the oil in my truck. Slipped off the oil filter and hit the catalytic converter. If I could smell it, probably would have smelled like barbecue. Oink oink. Got to get all these panels up. These are the ones that made me cry the other day when I saw they were still here for tomatoes. And then it'll be tilling, guys. Now, before I get to showing you what I'm using to cover crop, I'm gonna put out some pelletized lime on this new ground that I had cleared back in the spring. We have not done a soil sample on it, and that's our bad. But we've been gardening long enough to know kind of when you need it. And anytime you do a new ground, especially if there's been pines on it, a little bit of lime is going to help. And I usually do, just as a rule of thumb, 100 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So that's kind of a good starting point. And next year we'll do a soil sample. It takes about 3 months for this lime to really break down and start doing anything to sweeten up the soil. But we'll get it out. There's some clumps in here. So it's not going to broadcast very well, but a little bit's better than none, and then we'll get the cover cropping going. All right, so I told you this is a new way of cover cropping in an old way. And what I mean by that, y'all, is normally we buy a premix, and I actually put a premix out on that first strip that I cover cropped where the tomatoes were, crimson clover and winter wheat. But what I decided to do this time was, thanks to our local co-op, Southern States. If you're down here in the South, I believe they're in Virginia and the Carolinas, I'm not sure where else. They actually take big bags of seed and break it down for you into 5-pound bags. So this is crimson clover, and what we're going to do is just mix our own cover crop. Clover is great for a nitrogen source to add back to your soil. Winter wheat, and these are 5-pound bags, and you can buy it like this a whole lot cheaper than you can a premix to put out. And this is going to make 15 pounds, and we may not use it all. It'll be close, but whatever you don't use, you can always put back into a Ziploc and put in your freezer and use it the next year. So there's the winter wheat. And one thing that I do like about some of the premixes we've used in the past is that they have winter peas in it. Another good plant for fixing nitrogen, as well as the deer love it, and we love the deer. So I get it all in the bucket and just stir it all up, incorporate. And you can see there, you can see in the bucket, we're just mixing it. Now is when a little broadcast spreader like this, just a handheld, comes in really handy. Gives you a lot of control on putting your cover crop out. We may end up using all of this between this garden and anything we do up near the house. I really enjoy cover cropping. In all honesty, it's probably one of my favorite parts of gardening, because I enjoy getting on the tractor, tilling the soil. Some people say don't till your soil, some people say till it. I'm under the impression that in order to make things come back stronger, you got to tear them down. Kind of like when you take somebody going through intense training. It breaks the body down only to build it back stronger. So that's what we do with the soil, y'all. And for the past probably 7 years, we've been cover cropping the lower section of the garden, and it only gets better every year, the soil. So we expect for this new section to get better as well. Guys, that's all we have for you today. I'm gonna finish my cover cropping, get it tracked in with the John Deere Gator, because we got a little bit of rain coming, and hopefully this stuff will come on up here in just a couple days. Guys, y'all have a good day, a great week. Got any comments, questions? Drop them below and we'll get back to you. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you on the next one. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise too high, y'all.